Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to another 5-Minute Friday here on Meaningful Money. So, a listener and viewer, I can say that these days, doing more video, but a listener called Gregg emailed me because he's approaching age 60 and is starting to get what are called wake-up letters from his pension providers. In other words, they're asking him, you're going to need to make a decision soon about what to do with your pension benefits, so why not start thinking about it? So Gregg is wondering whether he should annuitize. Should he buy an annuity with an annuity? Easy for you to say. Should he buy an annuity with his amassed pension funds, or should he go into drawdown? Gregg is a little bit worried about that because of markets being a little bit volatile at the moment. And while he was emailing me with questions, he also wondered whether annuities will return to favor. It's been a long time since we've had a really significant market crash, and Gregg wonders whether if and when that happens, annuities, because they are guaranteed, will return to favor. So that's what Gregg wants to know, so we're going to try and answer that today. So let's put 5 minutes on the clock down here. Say a quick thank you to my friends at 7 Investment Management for continuing to sponsor Meaningful Money down here, and let's crack on. So let's remind ourselves about annuities because they have fallen a little bit out of favor and we need to understand how they work. Essentially what happens is that you hand over your amassed pension fund to an annuity company, usually an insurance company, and in return they will give you a guaranteed income for life. Usually you have the option to take tax-free cash first from your pension fund, usually up to a quarter of the fund, but you don't have to do that, and whether you do that or not, with the rest, if you hand it over to an annuity company, you get a guaranteed income for life. Now, how much income you get depends on all kinds of factors. Obviously, your age and your health have a bearing. Remember, it's a guaranteed income for life, and how long for life is depends on your age and your health. The profit margin of the annuity company also has a bearing. They have very bright people called actuaries who look at tables all day and decide how long you're going to live. So they know how long they're going to have to pay you for and can work out how much they pay you in order to still make a profit on the deal. Investment returns is also a factor because your annuity company will take your pension fund and invest it for their own benefit, and who knows what investment returns will be like going forward. But again, the annuity company will make assumptions and build all that into what is, let's face it, a pretty complex formula. And a bunch of that stuff you have absolutely no control over. Nothing you can do about investment returns, nothing you can do about annuity company profits, all that sort of stuff. The things you can control are the options you choose. So whether you provide for a joint life annuity so that there will be something for your spouse or partner if you die first, whether the income you choose rises each year or stays level, and whether there's a minimum payment period called a guarantee period attached to the annuity. So loads of factors, some you can control, some you can't. We mustn't lose sight of that. Even though annuities have lost favor, they are really the only way you can guarantee an income for the rest of your life. And that's not to be sniffed at. Now, the alternative to an annuity is a drawdown plan where you keep your pension fund. Instead of handing it over, you keep it, it remains invested, and instead you stick a little tap on it and you turn on the tap and draw an income from your accumulated pension fund. Whenever there's investments, there are costs involved, of course, investment costs, platform costs, wrapper costs, things like that, and there is risk involved because investments all come with a greater or lesser degree of risk. But drawdowns have become massively popular, especially since the pensions freedoms of 2015, because you remain in control. And of course, a pension income guaranteed for life, which is what an annuity is, has one major variable that you can't do a great deal about, and that's how long will your life be. And so with better death benefits available on the whole drawdown thing, it's no wonder that drawdowns have become much more popular at the expense of annuities in recent years. But what option you choose doesn't matter what's popular or not, it needs to be the right option for you. Now, I always say on the podcast that if there is one point in time where a financial planner can really add value, it's at this transition point into retirement, taking benefits from pensions. There are so many choices open to you that having somebody steer you through it can be massively beneficial. A good financial planner can help you optimize your sources of income. So choose which sources to draw income from in which given year, how to set a baseline income from your state pension and maybe an annuity to make sure your minimum bills are always paid for the rest of your life, and then maybe have some discretionary income pots that you can draw from. And they might be different ones. They might not just be pensions, maybe ISAs or investment bonds or whatever. A good financial planner can help you navigate through all that and optimize it for your specific circumstances. If you want to retire early, there may be a delay between you finishing work and hence losing your employment income and your state pension kicking in. There's very often a gap between those two, and so you're going to need to fund that gap. And so it may be that you draw more heavily from your portfolio in those intervening years than you will later on once your state pension has kicked in. Again, a financial planner can help you plan that. Clues in the name. They can help you plan that transition period and make the best of it. It's also really important, and a financial planner can help you invest specifically for drawdown, or for what we call decumulation. By we, I mean the financial services profession, which loves to come up with made-up words like decumulation. Actually, feel a little bit sick in my mouth just saying it. It's a horrible word. But investing for retirement is a whole different ball game. You need to be very aware of market volatility. Too much volatility early on in your decumulation journey can really be problematic and can mean that you may end up actually running out of money, which surely is the most catastrophic outcome we can possibly imagine. So again, a good financial planner will help you navigate that and plan for it, making assumptions and continually reviewing things in light of actual market experience and your personal circumstances to try and make the best of what is a pretty challenging situation. Gregg asks whether annuities will return to favor, whether in light of current market volatility, more people will flock back to the guaranteed nature of annuities. I have to say I don't think so. I think the biggest risk of all is how long you're going to live. And if you hand over your pension fund in return for an income for life, and in the end, for life only ends up being a couple of years, then that's a pretty rough deal. Obviously, for every person who dies early, there's another person who lives till they're 100, and there is an element of cross-subsidy with annuities, which some people think is unfair. Important to note that you can build in some kind of death benefit protection into annuities though, but that will have an impact on how much actual income you get. And remember, you can always take out life assurance, so you can provide for your family that way. One factor very much against annuities is that the rates are still very poor. The amount of income you get per £1,000 of fund that you hand over is still historically very low. Not quite as low as it has been, but still pretty rubbish. But that's the price of the guaranteed income for life. The flexibility of drawdown plans is still very attractive. You offer people the opportunity to retain control of their money. That's always going to be more attractive than just handing over control, at least for most of us. And as I mentioned earlier, I think there are benefits of including annuities in your planning, perhaps for securing a minimum baseline income that covers your minimum baseline expenditure, so you can stay in your house, pay the bills, run the car, that sort of stuff, eat, because that minimum baseline expenditure, if you know that that is covered by a secured income in the form of annuity, then that's a real weight off, and you can then invest, maybe have drawdown plans for your discretionary income, holidays, hobbies and sports and stuff like that. It's been 10 years now since the worst financial crisis in living memory, and for many younger investors, they've never really known what it's like to experience a significant and prolonged market decline. We have had a couple of wobbles since then. There was one in 2011 and a pretty big one in 2015, but certainly nothing as severe or as prolonged as 2007 and 8. So I think some people will definitely have been lulled into a false sense of security and will get probably a pretty nasty wake-up call when the next correction comes. And it will. Those that will particularly be hurt are those that think they're kind of investment geniuses because their money has pretty much always gone up for the last 10 years, give or take a few little wobbles on the way. There's no such thing as an investment genius. People generally get lucky or they don't. Intelligent investors follow some simple rules for investing, which will doubtless be the subject of another video. It's essential to remember that markets don't care about you at all. There are ways that you can invest intelligently, but you cannot game the system. The system is simply too big for you to take advantage of it or try to get one over on the market. And so you win as an investor by diversifying, spreading your money around, keeping your costs down. That includes tax. Nobody wants to pay unnecessary tax. And then reviewing things regularly, but tinkering with things rarely. So Gregg, a few thoughts around your multifaceted email there. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. If you've got any questions you want me to answer, meaningfulmoney.tv/ask Pete is the place to go to do that, and I'll do my best to answer them on a future 5 Minute Friday. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.